Okay, here is the passenger door module removed from the door panel on the passenger side of the Tahoe. It has these little clips. I'm not going to clip it back together, but it has these 4 little clips. You just use a screwdriver. You gently pry under one of these. You hold it, and you kind of pry the rest, and it just pop off, and boop, that pops off. So the switches here, these are just push-down rocker switches like this. And they push on this little plastic membrane. And in the plastic membrane, these are little kind of conductor pads here. And those conductor pads line up with these little, I don't know if it's focusing properly. I don't think so. But they line up with these little pads here. And that's what activates the various door control locks and windows and things like that. Okay, we're going to take a closer look at what's all going on here, because this module does a lot of different things. It does the remote key entry, the TPMS. It communicates that information up to the body control module. Then it also does power door locks. It does power windows. It does power mirrors, and it also does heated seats. Primarily, I'm focusing on the antenna and the kind of the radio frequency amplifier for the remote keyless entry and TPMS. Okay, let's. This is the bottom side of the board, or the top side, whatever you want to call it. Let's just flip this out here. So here's all the various different plugs, and you can see in here the plugs are just header pins that are attached to the PCB. This is the main power in plug. This one has a serial data plug on it. It also has a B+ power positive on it. I'm pretty sure this is for mirror. I think there's 2 for mirror. Can't recall what these 2 are, but we'll see in a sec. So I'm going to zoom in here. Oh, here's the antenna for the remote keyless entry. And the circuit, let me give it a pointer here. The circuit, the RF amplification circuit for the remote keyless entry is all up in this area, right in here. So I'm going to zoom in here and we can talk a bit more about that. Okay, let's take a look at this. So here's the antenna. That antenna, I'm not quite sure what this system set up here is for. I have to find out a little bit more about that, but I'm not quite sure what that is. Then it goes through, there's a couple of capacitors sitting in there and whatnot. And it ultimately, it ends up going into this receiver in here. And so this is a receiver, RF receiver chip from NEC. And it gets, the signal itself gets mixed in a filter right here. So this is a SAW filter, this little guy here. And it gets mixed in there, and then it gets converted to intermediary frequency with this crystal here, I think down to 10 megahertz. I don't know what this device here is yet, but I think there's another crystal sitting here that helps to filter to 10 megahertz intermediary frequency. So that basically gets it from radio frequency into a frequency that can be used on the board. But it's still kind of an analog signal. From there, it gets pushed down into this circuit here and converted. This is a data slicer. It gets converted into a digital signal. And then from the digital signal, it probably, and I'm not 100% sure here, it probably goes and gets sent over to the back to this CPU chip. And then this ultimately, this will do things like the rolling code on the remote keyless entry. And for TPMS, it'll do things like, checking to make sure that they're all working, all of the TPMS IDs are valid. And then it'll send out the data on pin wire here. I can't remember, I think maybe this one. No, I think it's this one here. serial data, and that goes off to the BCM to say things like, oh, okay, somebody opened and closed the doors and all that kind of jazz. Or here's the tires for the tire pressures for the TPMS. Yeah, so that's how it's assembled. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, let me just zoom out here. I'm going to go and apply power and ground to here. I'm also going to apply power to one of these pins, and I'm going to hook up the scope to serial data here. And then with the key fob, wherever that is, with the key fob, I'm going to actually activate it and see if I can see that serial data coming. Because the problem I'm having is that sometimes this circuit here is weak. And it's only receiving signals from the key fob, only 5 feet away or something like that. And it should be receiving it 15 feet away. It's also losing the far left rear TPMS signal because the receiver signal is weak. So my first step is to check to see if I can see serial data transmitting. That's great. And then I'm going to hook something up somewhere along in here and then start to stress the board, either through vibration or flexing it gently or applying heat to it just to see if I can get it to fail. Once I got it to fail, then I can start to trace it through the circuit. Okay, so I've got it all connected up. I've got positive, can we see this? Yeah, so sort of. On that C1 connector, I've got the positive and negative connected. I also have on this, I can't remember the connector number. This needs positive here, so I put it there. And then this yellow line is from my oscilloscope lead, which is touching, which it shouldn't. Okay, and then that goes up. I got my 12-volt power supply, putting 13 volts down into it. And then on my oscilloscope lead, I got it connected to my little DS Touch scope from G-Scope Labs here. So I press and we can see that we've got some serial signal that goes. And it looks like it probably transmits it twice. I don't know why. But when I press it, I see a signal, and then a little bit more comes along again. Yeah. And so anyways, there's my signal in it. There's a panic button signal. Oh, fascinating. I wonder if the panic button signal... Yeah. I wonder if this chip here controls the honking of that horn, because I think it only honks a few times, versus it going to the BCM and the BCM deciding how long to honk the horn.
Okay, that's all that I got to show you for now on how the RKE works with the passenger door module. Have fun.